Yes, Ring Kings podcast is back. We are here with the live stream. We just watched Teofimo Lopez knock out Pedro Campa. And right before that, we watched our man Xander Zayas knock out Elias Espada.
Spot.
Espada. Look, Teofimo and Xander both took care of business. Impressive comeback for Teofimo. He looked good. He looked good. Xander Zayas looked good as always. I mean, he's coming back from he was supposed to fight on Puerto Rican Day weekend, and he got sick. So I know he was anxious to get back in there. You could tell. But yeah, man, both guys look sharp. So I mean, what are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah, no, I look. Teal looked quick. He looked fast, man. He looked sharp. He looked good, man. And our guy Xander. Who we put you guys up on. Xander, he didn't disappoint either. Um, so yeah, I mean, I was impressed by both showings, especially Teal. Like he controlled the whole fight. I feel like he dominated. I mean, he should have been up on the cards. What round was that? Seven, 8.
7, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he should have been up 6-0, 6-0, headed for 7-0 if he wouldn't have knocked him out. So yeah, good showing on both sides.
Pretty clean. Yeah, pretty clean. And shout out to Raven Online Ungatekeeper. Says, we are live. Yes, we are live. Yeah, man. B, what are your thoughts? I mean, look, there's not a whole lot to say here. I mean, both guys pretty much handled what they need to handle.
Yeah. Going back specifically to Xander, like you mentioned, he had been training in Australia and got sick. He had a virus and he wasn't able to fight back in, I believe it was July. And, obviously he had posted a video, he was very upset about that. And so, yeah, like you said, you could see he was pretty anxious to kind of put on a show tonight. Wasn't as good defensively as we've seen him before. He was kind of willing to just walk in and take punches to land punches. But even still, you could see him, he was setting up the knockout. He ended up ended up throwing a left hook, and as Espada tried to escape, he landed the right hook. He kind of ran right into the right hook that put him out. I thought it was a bad stoppage. I thought that Espada was fine to go on. I mean, I get that he wasn't being super competitive, but he wasn't hurt. And I thought the ref should have let that go on. But yeah, outside of that, I thought he Xander put on the performance he needed to put on. He got the big win, and so it's on from here. With Teo, I pretty much agree. He had a really nice performance. He outboxed Campa all night. But you could tell that he doesn't have, at least right now, he doesn't have that one punch power that he had at 135. Early on, he was trying, he landed a few big shots and Campa just walked right through him. I mean, it had no effect.
So they say Campa has a pretty tough chin.
Well, and I wanted to mention also Espada, he was 22-4, Campa's 34-1-1. So these weren't bums that they were in with tonight.
Right.
But yeah, Teo, I think he was trying to see if he could get him out early, and he found out early, I'm not going to be able to knock this guy out just like that. So he went and outboxed him. He defensively looked fantastic. Great head movement, great foot movement around. He was moving around the ring quite a bit, and I think he really frustrated Campa. He started really busting him up over the last few rounds. That one I thought was a good stoppage. I mean, Campa could have kept on going. He wasn't out of it either, but there really wasn't any point.
He took a beating. Yeah,
he really did.
And shout out to Ferris says, where is Suge? Shout out to Suge Knight 323 who said he was going to be here, but we knew early on that just wasn't going to happen. Okay. Shout out to everybody that's watching, man. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. All right. Yeah, man. It also, if we're not, if you're looking for a super chat, we're not super chat enabled, but this is how we do super chat. We do it two ways. Right in the corner over there, $ LBHTShow. That's our Cash App. And also that pin link that you see in the comment will take you to our stream elements. Both ways, you can leave your comment, leave your donation, and we will give you a nice little animation right in this area, right around here. Okay, we'll read your comment on air as well. Yes. The Xander Zayas stoppage was early. Timothy Bradley, excuse me, Timothy Bradley. He made it very dramatical. Like that was he was traumatized for the guy.
Yeah.
Look, it was one of those things, right? Yes, it was too early even for my comfort, because usually those undercards, the undercards where those fights are like, they're scheduled for like 6-8 rounds, whatever. When the ref just sees a guy getting outclassed, he doesn't have to be hurt. They just say, all right, look, you're done. Espada was getting a little outclassed, right? And it wasn't going anywhere. And the ref just said, let's just call it a night. You get your check early, whatever. But yes, let him get up. Let him, because he didn't look wobbly or anything like that. Like, I mean, yes, he got. I think what happened was that knockdown he flew across the ring, literally, right? And I think the ref kind of got shook by that. It's just like, yeah, you got hit a little too hard. But I think he could have gotten up just fine and continued that fight.
Yeah.
Yes, probably eventually he would have gotten put away. Zayas, yes.
I don't want to say it was a balanced shot, but I mean, he was kind of trying to move away from Xander, and he ran right into the punch, and he kind of lost his balance, and he was trying to stay up and kind of backpedaled across the ring.
Yeah.
So,
The one thing one thing I want to mention about Zayas, you mentioned his defense wasn't quite there tonight, and I agree, and I think that's because of the early knockdown that he scored against Espada, right? Because the first round, he hit him hard. Like, it wasn't like a bounce shot, nothing like that. Like, he hit him hard and he went down, and I think he was excited and he thought, all right, I'm just gonna put him away. But Espada was game. He was game, so he lasted a little bit longer. Yes, Ferris. We saw Nico Ali Walsh. Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali. If you guys didn't know, yes, he was there. If you didn't know, Top Rank is going to let you know. Top Rank ESPN is going to let you know every single time they do a broadcast that Nico Ali Walsh is the grandson of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, he fights next weekend, I believe. So
yeah. That's not something we need to talk about, though.
Shout out to Chris Cabrera. Sorry, he says I got Ryan KOing TO in 2024-25. Wow, at 140. Okay, all right.
Wow. That's bold. I'm not, but not out of the question. I mean, Ryan, we make fun of Ryan a lot, but he's a very talented fighter.
He is.
Yeah,
he is. Okay. Yeah. For sure. Thanks for coming through.
But speaking of Xander, like, we're getting to that point where, he's moving up in competition. So now, the next thing to do is start to, I don't want to say pick apart his weaknesses, but you start to see a couple of things. And I love the kid. I think that he has superstar potential, but as you guys have already pointed out, his defense was a little off tonight, and what's rare for him is usually when he hurts a fighter like that, he'll jump in there, but once he feels a few, that guy swinging back, or he'll back up, like he won't exchange, like the typical young fighter. So
he shows more patience.
Yeah, and that he showed a little tendency of that. But I noticed in the last two fights, right? The outcome was the same. But I noticed that he tends to duck his head when he's throwing a power shot. And he tends to lean sometimes. And I think against a game fighter, they will exploit that in him. But he's young, man, and he's growing. In each fight, you see where he's getting better and better. And that's a good thing, and that's a good signs for him. But like I said, we see what he can be. So now we'll start pointing out some of his weaknesses that he need to fix. And that's two things that I noticed. Defense was off. He doesn't get his hands up after his. It's like his transition from offense to defense isn't quick enough. And I don't know, sometimes it seems like he's looking to see what his punch just did. rather than getting back on defense.
Yeah.
But I have all confidence that he'll change that. He'll fix that. The kid is special, no question.
Yeah. Let me read this. Let me read this tip. Did you put it out there, B?
Yeah, from Jalen. He said, Suge still hasn't drunk any water. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the tip. Appreciate that. Yeah, everything you're saying, spot on, Mikey. Spot on. And but man, like the most shocking thing that I heard, even though I knew this already, but it's just every time you hear it, he turns 20 next week.
Yeah,
like he's still a teenager.
Yeah, boy, kid,
he's still a kid, right? Like, yeah, it's like all things you're saying. It's like, yeah, I mean, he has a lot to work on. He has a lot to work on, right? Like he's shown a lot of talent, and I just hope they don't try to, fast track him to a title, because he's looking good. Like he's still growing into his man body.
Sir, I'm sorry. I think that you're forgetting he won a couple titles last night or tonight.
Yeah.
Did he just win that tonight? Which title was this now?
Was it the NABF?
Lord.
Junior middleweight or whatever.
It's so many titles.
But yeah, he is a champion, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
He got his first strap tonight.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
That's a big deal, though. I mean, it's not. We're kind of making light of it, but I mean, that's his first title. That's a big thing. So that was one of his goals for this year. So he accomplished that. So congratulations to Xander. He said next year, obviously he wants to headline the Puerto Rican Day parade fight, and then he wants to headline Madison Square Garden. I think both of those are well within reach. So
yeah. It looks like his homie usually headlines Puerto Rican Day.
Shout out to Berlanga.
Yeah, he usually headlines Madison Square Garden. Looks like he's looking beyond that.
Listen, they just can't be on the same card anymore. All right.
Yeah.
Xander's getting a little too big. They're both headliners, but they'll just have to be on different cards now.
Yeah.
What's up, D Weezy?
Shout out to D Weezy, man. It says, how is Teal looking? We're gonna talk about Teal right now. Teal look good.
Mm-hmm.
Teal look good. There's not a whole lot I have to say about, like, I didn't see a whole lot of, like, yes, I will say this. He did something similar in a Kambosos fight where he thought he can kind of walk through the opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been Teofimo's thing, is he's been like the heavier puncher in a lightweight division. And when he came across Kambosos, like you could tell he just wasn't focused in that fight. He thought he could walk through him. His camp, I don't think, did a good job of scouting Kambosos. They thought that he could walk through him. And when it happened that way, he didn't adjust, right? That was the biggest thing. Like, even though he didn't adjust, he still almost put Kambosos away.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight, he adjusted. He thought he could put this guy away early, and he didn't do it. But that didn't discourage him. He, and his corner didn't tell him, "Oh, just go out there. You're winning. Just go out there and just knock him out." No. Like, he boxed him, right?
Yeah,
he boxed him. He knew when to lay off a little bit. He knew when to let the guy, kind of Campa. I keep saying the guy. He let Campa, come at him a little bit, tire himself out, set himself up for open shots, and he waited for his right moment, and he got it. Mm-hmm. So you see the difference between when he prepares and when he doesn't prepare. I should say. All right.
Yeah, well, Timothy and Andre Ward, they said he didn't prepare for this fight because he only had 2 weeks of sparring, and that wasn't nearly enough for a 10-round fight, and they were very concerned.
Clearly it was.
Yeah, he looked fine. He kind of a little bit reminded me of Floyd Mayweather when he fought Arturo Gatti, because he didn't have the power to put him away, but right. He was so much faster and so much more skilled that he just kind of beat on him for the entire fight. Obviously it wasn't that level of performance, but that's kind of what happened tonight. He landed a lot of really, really hard shots. He damaged Campa's face quite a bit, but Campa wasn't really. He wasn't getting hurt up until the 6th and 7th round there, when they eventually stopped it. But it was kind of an accumulation of punches rather than I'm the bigger, stronger guy and I'm just, I'm winning and you're going down. So
yeah. I mean, this is going to be a different, it's gonna be a different ball game for him at 140, right? They spoke about on the telecast, it's just 5 pounds. People may say, "Oh man, it's just 5 pounds," but it's a big difference. He was a bigger guy at 135. Now at 140, he may be one of the smaller guys. So it's going to be some adjusting for him. I think he handled that well. I agree with you guys, both of you guys. He came in, he was landing some heavy shots, right? And Campa was, like you said, Campa was walking through that, and part of that is that that Mexican fighter pedigree, like they just tough, and I'm gonna just keep coming forward. You throwing the kitchen sink at me, and I'm still coming. So part of that, I was like, okay, if if it was somebody else, would they have been hurt by now? But it's a real question on whether his power translates to 140.
Yeah,
I think you said it earlier, B. Like that one punch power isn't there, probably, right? So he's got to find a different way, and he showed that, right? He set this up. He beat on him, tired him out, and then he caught him with a great combination, and that's what ended up putting him down and ending the fight. So hey, I feel like because it's easy to get discouraged when you have one punch power and you landing some bombs, and this guy's just coming forward. It's easy to get discouraged in there, like, damn, I can't hurt this dude. But
Yeah.
He stayed the course, man. He looked good. Like you said, it's not much you can say about it. I mean, I would wish he'd have, kind of kept the fight in the middle of the ring a little bit more, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna say early on. Campa, because he wasn't being affected by Teo's punches at all. So there were times when he was trapping Teo in the corner or on the ropes and unloading on him. And like you said, it would have been easy for him to get a little discouraged and say, "Man, I can't hurt this guy." But like you said, he stayed with the game plan. He kept moving. He kept throwing his jab, kept throwing combinations and getting out of the way. And eventually he wore him out and got the win. Oscar De La Hoya was there tonight. They talked to him ringside, and they asked him about kind of what's next, what he's doing there. And he said Teofimo invited him to the fight, and he said he's talking to obviously talking to Tank's people, to Al Heyman, about a Ryan Garcia and Tank fight. But he said he's also talking about possibly Teofimo being next for Ryan Garcia. So which of those fights would you guys prefer to see? Presumably both at 140.
First of all, I don't believe nothing Oscar's saying.
You don't believe he's friends with Teofimo?
That may be true, but now he's talking to Al Heyman again. I mean, just a couple of days ago, the fight they were moving on so it went from we're talking and that's a good sign, and I think it's gonna happen to nobody's answering the phone. I can't get a hold of anybody. We're moving on. Right. To now we're talking again.
Right. He got his new number. He changed his phone. So
you guys already know. Like, I prefer to see. I just want Tank to really beat him up. So I prefer to see that. But I think Teo can do the same thing. So I take either fight. I mean, I'd be happy to see. I'd be happy to see either fight. But I'd rather see Tank, kind of.
Yes, like I want to, because they've been hyping it up for so long, and I think that'd be huge for Tank. Yeah. I would say like I mean, because what would be the bigger fight? I think Tank and Ryan Garcia. But if Teofimo fought Ryan Garcia first, beats Ryan Garcia, Teofimo and Tank, it'd be big, and people would see that as a more legit fight because people just don't take Ryan Garcia that seriously. I still rather see Tank and Ryan Garcia just because of the trash talk. Like they've established something already, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to see that payoff. I want to see his first L come from Tank. All right.
Yeah.
Where's I live Teofimo, there's plenty of guys at 140 he can fight. So I mean.
But if honestly, I think the most realistic fight of the two would be him and Teo. I think they can probably make that happen before we'll see. Unfortunately, before we'll see Tank and Ryan Garcia. So,
There's who's the champion? Josh Taylor, is that his name?
Josh Taylor, yeah. He's
Does
got 2
does
belts.
does does Top Rank give him a shot at the title? I mean, that's a top rank fighter, right? Does Bob Arum say, okay, Teofimo, one more fight and then we'll set you up to fight with Josh Taylor because he much rather Teofimo had the belts than Tank, right?
Yeah, I mean, he called out. He said that's what he wants next. He wants Josh Taylor next.
I can see that for his next fight. I can see that. I can see him going up and fighting, not going up, but like fighting Josh Taylor, getting those belts. Tank going to fight Ryan Garcia, and then they try to push that issue. But ultimately, Bob Arum's going to try to freeze out Tank as long as he possibly can before he has to set up a fight.
So. Yeah, he want to keep them belts there. He want to keep them belts in house.
Yeah.
So, and I think Josh Taylor is scheduled for the rematch against Catterall, yeah. So, I guess you're looking at the top of the year next year, if that would be the next fight. So, I don't know, man. We'll see, but I'm just losing faith in the chances of us seeing. First of all, I don't believe that either fight will happen. Let me clarify that. I don't believe that either fight will happen. Okay. But I think if I had to bet on which fight had the best chance to happen, it would be Lopez and Garcia.
Okay. All right.
I just don't trust.
What do you think, B?
Yeah, no, I agree that I think it's more likely that they make the Garcia and Lopez fight. For Tank, I think it's tough right now, right? He's the oldest out of that group at that 135, 140 area, and a lot of the fighters are with Top Rank. Some of the fighters are with Golden Boy, and they just they can just decide, hey, you're not part of the party. Yeah. And there's not really a whole lot that he can do. We know that Devin Haney is going to be fighting Kambosos in October, the rematch, and then they're planning on having him fight Lomachenko after that, assuming he wins, which he should. We just talking about Ryan Garcia. He moves up to 140. He can fight Lopez. He can, he can go about it any number of ways, right? But he doesn't have to go and look for a Tank, even though he likes to use Tank's name to hype up his fights. He doesn't actually have to get in the ring with Tank. They've got a lot of options there. So I would agree that I think that Teofimo and Ryan Garcia is more likely to happen, but probably Garcia just ends up fighting somebody that nobody wants to see him fight.
Exactly.
Yeah, and still doing a whole lot of talking about Tank and Teofimo and everything, but
okay, so that's another question. I mean, who would Ryan Garcia fight if it's not one of these two?
I mean, it could be just about anybody. Like, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to take a big fight. That's not just, one of those two. I'm saying it's just going to be a guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that he's going to be put in any kind of danger, in the near future.
Ryan Garcia, but he had. We talked about Jake Paul last week. He's kind of cornering himself or backing himself into a corner as well, right? He is going to have to start fighting some guys with some, of some significance, right? He's not going to be able to sell pay-per-views. Well, I mean, he's on DAZN, man. He don't get pay-per-views, but he's not going to do any kind of like real numbers that DAZN is going to be satisfied with just fighting these nobodies much longer, right?
Yeah.
They kind of gave him that excuse because he had a long layoff, and it's like, oh well, he's still popular. Okay, he wants another tune-up fight. Okay, fine. With the Fortuna. Okay, cool. That's fine. You can do that fight. But the next couple of fights, the next few fights, they're going to want to see him fight a serious fighter, right? Or a more serious fighter than when he's been fighting. I don't think he can get away with just getting another tune-up level guy. So
yeah, his problem. I mean, and the problem with him is he does sort of talking, right?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
in the boxing community, like the boxers themselves don't believe him. So that is going to start to hurt him more than anything. Like
Yeah.
even Teo, like he's like, look, man, he don't want to fight nobody. Like
right.
and tonight he said, look, he even named him last. Like he went through a whole line of people, and he was like, look, man, if none of those guys can fight, all right, let's make that happen. But
Yeah.
it's just that nobody believes that camp right now. And
But
eventually it'll wear thin, because once the fighters start saying like, "All right, look, man, this dude is he just using names to
even a
put his
casual
name out there."
fan,
Yeah,
even like because even a casual fan is going to start to say, well, who is this guy? Like, why do I care if he's fighting whoever, right? Like, yeah, it's always fun to see him knock out somebody if you're a Ryan Garcia fan or whatever. But after a while, it's just like, all right, I mean, I guess like okay, you're gonna beat up this guy, but who is he, right? Like at some point, you gotta take some risks. People want to see that.
right.
Yeah. P. Weezy asking Cambosis versus Garcia. Cambosis has the rematch against Devin Haney first. Garcia is saying he's moving up to 140. He's not going to be fighting at 135 anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So Cambosis is out of the picture for him, assuming he stays at 140. Shout out to One Mike History. What's going on?
Shout out to One Mike History. Make sure you always subscribe to him. J. Paul
Yeah.
don't want no smoke. Yeah, we know that. I mean, that's why we're making that comparison, right?
He wants all the smoke with KSI.
Yeah, yeah.
Not so much with anybody who boxes for a living. But just looking at the rankings here, 140, because they've kind of inserted Ryan Garcia at number 6. So you've got Jose Ramirez, who's 27-1, coming off a win over Jose Pedraza. I think he's going to be in the mix for the vacant titles. There's 2 vacant titles there. So I don't really think that they're going to throw him in with Ramirez. You got Gary Antoine Russell, who is 16-0, coming off a win on July 30th.
He fights at 140?
Yeah. And you got Jose Pedraza's 29-4. Who, I mean, he's coming off a couple of recent losses. That could be somebody that they target for Garcia, who's a pretty big name, has been a very good fighter, who may be kind of on the downside. So I think maybe that's somebody they could look to get him in the ring with as a credible opponent who they think he'll be able to handle relatively well.
Gary Antoine Russell is still a little raw, right? There's some flaws in his game, but he's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the one I can't. I don't think he'll do that one, right?
Well, I mean, look, I don't know how dangerous he would be for Garcia. I mean, Garcia is an experienced fighter. He's a very skilled fighter. I mean, I think he would be able to handle Russell pretty. I don't want to say easily. But
I don't know if he'd be. The only reason I say I don't know because Russell, watching a fight, he has a good chin. He comes forward. He puts a lot of pressure on you. I don't know. I mean, like we haven't really seen somebody do that to Ryan Garcia, right? And Ryan Garcia is moving up, so he's not like the naturally bigger guy. Like, can he get Antoine Russell off of him, or does if he can't handle that pressure? I've never seen him like that. That would be a long fight or a short fight for Ryan Garcia. I don't know.
I could see him. I could see them flirting with that, right? Because he is, all the things that you guys said, right? He's raw, up and coming, but he has just enough name where it would be something of interest where they might flirt with it, and then kind of like they did with Cruz, right?
Mm-hmm.
They flirted with, oh yeah, I want him, and then when they called him out, like, all right, man, we sent the paperwork. What's up?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Well, nah, we signed to fight this fight. So it's. I mean, they're not gonna put him in there with you got Regis Prograis and those type guys. I'm definitely not gonna put him in there with those type guys. So it'll be. I could see maybe Russell. They might flirt with that one. I could see that one.
Okay.
But I mean flirt with it. I don't know if it would happen, but I think they'd flirt with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, there's not a whole lot to say about this card. The fights kind of went the way most people expected they would go. But before we kind of wrap up here, I think we should go a little rapid fire and give our picks for the upcoming fights. There's a lot of fights coming up, starting next week with one of the biggest fights of the year, the rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. Who you guys taking in that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Muhammad Ali.
You don't need to. He doesn't want you to know that. Like that, you keep that on the down.
He wants you to know that it's just on his boxers. It's, he's probably got tatted on his back. All right, so I believe I picked Usyk by decision. I think it's gonna be close, man. I think it might even be a split decision. Yeah, okay. Decision for Usyk.
Mikey?
Yeah, I'm going Joshua. I just think he usually bounces back.
He does.
I mean, he's only lost once, but he bounced twice now. But he bounced back well after that. So usually he just seems like he has to get cracked in his head a few times, and then he wakes up and realizes the potential he has, and then he comes out and fights up to that potential. So I got Joshua winning.
Yeah, I'm taking Usyk, and I'm taking him in a late stoppage or knockout. Like I said, probably thinking rounds 9 to 11, somewhere in there. I think he it's a more definitive win this time around. I'm not going to talk about the other fight on August 20th. That
AB Adrian Broner. Who is Adrian Broner fighting?
No, thank you.
Listen.
Adrian Broner's fighting Omar Figueroa Jr. It's on Showtime. Whatever.
Give the people what they want. They want to see some AB.
No.
Yes. Look, I told you, if you don't want to cover it, me and Mikey gonna cover it. All right. DWE says Joshua and that glass jaw to stay home. I don't think he has a glass jaw. Like, I mean, yeah. He's been put down. He's been put down a couple of times, but I mean,
yeah.
He gets up. Like he could take a hit. It's just I think he's not always focused on boxing, right? Like he has all the tools. He doesn't always put it together.
Glass. It's like maybe ceramic.
It's Tupperware. Like you might dent it, but you can pop it right back out. Right.
Adrian Broner and Omar Figueroa and whatever. I could not possibly care less who wins this fight.
We gotta see this. Does Broner still have anything left?
Does Broner still have all of that potential that he never lived up to? Who knows? Tune in. But no, I'm not watching that. Mikey, did we lose Mikey here? I think we lost him.
Yeah, he'll be back. Okay. He'll be back in a second.
So Jose Pedraza has a fight coming up on the 27th against Richard Comey. I think Pedraza takes that fight. I would hope so. Richard Comey is well beyond done, I would say.
Yeah.
So I would expect him to take that one. It's a 10-round fight. I'm going to say he takes it by decision.
Yeah, same. Comey is I mean, yes, he's done, but he's tough. I don't think he gets knocked out. I say Pedraza by decision.
We got on September 4th a pretty decent card here. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Luis Ortiz and Isaac Cruz versus Eduardo Ramirez.
On the same card?
Yeah, that's on Fox pay-per-view on September 4th.
Pay-per-view?
Yes. I'm taking Cruz and Ruiz in those fights.
Me too. King Kong, let's go. No.
King Kong was Ortiz.
Ortiz.
Yeah,
I thought you said Ortiz.
I'm taking Ruiz.
No, I'm taking Ortiz.
I'm taking the former heavyweight champion of the world.
I'm taking King Kong. Okay. All right.
And then obviously September 20th or 17th, we got Canelo and Triple G. We've talked about this before. I'm taking Canelo by knockout in that one as well. In the second half of the fight. I think he wears him down and gets a stoppage on Triple G. I don't think he actually knocks him out, but it'll be a TKO.
Listen, leading up to this fight being signed, I said Canelo is going to murder Triple G. Like he's going to that might be 4 rounds to get him out of there. But I've had a change of heart. All right, I've had a change of heart. I think Triple G will do like this is him. He going out on his shield. This is it, right? Like he's going to do whatever he has to do to try to get that win. I think it's going to be like they're going to slug it out. Triple G will refuse to go down. He's going to hit Canelo with some serious shots too, because Canelo's going to try to put him away. And I think it's going to be very entertaining. And I think Canelo wins by split decision. Yes. Yes.
The disrespect.
Split decision.
The disrespect to Cinnamon is just wild.
Split decision.
Wow. Fast forwarding a little bit, we had October 15th or 16th, depending on where you are. Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2 down in Australia. Who you got in that one? I think I can guess. But
so I'm not sure. What did they give him officially? Did they give Kambosos 2 rounds, 1 round? I can't remember. He didn't win a single round last time. I don't think he's going to win a single round this time. He's not going to get knocked out. That's not really a Devin Haney thing. But he's going to lose all 12 rounds, but worse this time.
I'm going to say that it's not going to be as bad as it was the first time. I think he's going to be much more aggressive. I think he's going to try to make it a slugfest, and I think he does get some rounds, but I think ultimately he loses a decision.
I don't love the split decision. I just said Devin Haney is going to. I'm responding to D Weezy. D Weezy said Jose loves a split decision. All right. I don't love a split decision. I just said Devin Haney is going to win. Devin Haney is going to win by super unanimous. Okay. Okay. It's going to be a flawless victory for Devin Haney. How mad do you think Devin Haney is that he has to do this rematch?
I mean, I think he's mad he has to do it in Australia. I don't think he's mad that he's got. I mean, a rematch with a champion is pretty typical, right? I think he's mad he has to go back to Australia to do it.
I think he signed it with not the intention of doing the rematch. Right? That's why after the fight, just like, oh yeah, gotta look at it. Even Kambosos just like, yeah, we got see if it works for on both sides or whatever. I don't think there's any real expectation that they're going to do that rematch. I think Devin Haney was looking to fight Tank. Bob Arum said, I don't want you fighting Tank, right? I want you fighting one of my guys. I want you to fight Lomachenko. And Haney might even been cool, Lomachenko, but Lomachenko ain't quite ready yet. And Kambosos just like, hey, man, I got another payday coming, So
yeah, I don't think he's mad about the rematch because that's a normal thing in boxing. If you fight the champion, they have a rematch clause. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. I think he's mad that he's got to go back to Australia to do it.
Sure.
Because why would you have to go back to his hometown to beat him again?
The way he beat him, right? It wasn't a good fight. Like it
wasn't, but it doesn't. But there's no out clause in the rematch. In the rematch clause, not hey, if I beat you by 6 rounds, I don't have to give you the rematch. So
I think he thought maybe Bob Arum would give him some step aside money or just take him like, hey, look, we're not going to do this fight again, man. Like you make some money, we'll give you a little bit more money. You go fight whoever. We'll set up a fight for you, but like we need Devin Haney to take on a bigger fight. I think they all thought that, and
I think normally that probably would have played out. But these are the 2 biggest fights of George Kambosos' career. Yeah. So he wasn't going to turn him down. So, I'm taking the rematch that you owe me contractually, or I will see you in court.
Okay.
Yeah. This isn't officially signed, but again, Bud Crawford and Errol Spence, they're looking for November now. That one, I think Bud Crawford's going down. Honestly, I think that Errol Spence is the better fighter, and I think he is going to be on a mission to shut up all of the Bud Crawford fans, and Bud himself. He talks a lot. I think he gets the decision in that fight.
Yeah. Okay. When you say he's going down, I thought you meant like
no. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out. I think he's going to get a decision, but I think it'll be. I'm not going to say it's going to be a super wide decision, but I think it'll be fairly decisive. I think it'll be decisive.
I agree.
Won't be like, hey, oh, he got robbed, you know.
Yeah, I think it'll be an exciting fight.
Mhm.
I don't think anybody gets dropped, right? But there'll be some big hits. But yeah, I'm going Errol Spence. Ferris, shout out to Ferris in the chat he picks Bud Crawford. When we did our top 10 list, right, a pound for pound list, I think the panel was pretty split on Crawford and Errol Spence. Look, you, me, Mikey, we all love both fighters, right? We're fans of both fighters. I think Mikey likes Errol Spence a little bit more too. But you know, Ferris, Suge, I can't remember who else was out there that picked. I think D Weezy might have picked. Oh, okay, D Weezy picked Spence as well. Okay, yeah. So look, it wouldn't shock me either way who won. These are two of the best. I mean, we had them 1 and 2 on our pound for pound list.
Yeah,
right.
It's the biggest fight in boxing.
Yes, yeah. So it won't shock me either way. I'm just gonna go watch the fight, be entertained. I know these are two fighters that has the boxing community split. My goodness, if you're Team Crawford, you don't come over here. Okay, if you're Team Spence, don't go over there. Right, like they're so split on it. We're not. I mean, we're split, but you know, all are welcome over here. And if you're picking one or the other, that's fine. I mean, it's going to get settled, right? It's going to get settled. But I just want to see a good fight. I think it will be a good fight. But yeah, I'll take Errol Spence in the decision.
Yeah. But I think that's about it. I mean, like I said, not a whole lot to talk about from this card tonight. I mean, it was fairly straightforward. Everybody kind of expected both of those outcomes. But yeah, there's a lot of boxing coming up in the near future. You know, a lot of fights, a lot of big fights for the rest of the year. So we'll be here pretty much every week.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mikey, he dipped out. He had to take care of something. But look, we'll wrap it up. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I think that is about it.
All right, so we got some things that we're working on. We're a little late with our sparring sessions segment, but we're getting that, and we're gonna get that out to you, and then pretty soon. I hope you guys are enjoying our watch list, right?
Yeah, the most recent one, Keyshawn Davis. Definitely check that out if you haven't already. Hit the like button. He's got a fight coming up pretty soon. Opponent has not been determined yet, but it's gonna be 6-0, probably with 5 knockouts. So, but definitely check out what's up, Mikey?
Hey, Mikey.
Have you been drinking that water the entire time?
Baby boy woke up on me.
Okay. All right, real quick. Give your picks real quick. We'll start. We'll run through them real quick, B.
Okay, hang on.
So Usyk and Joshua. Yeah. Usyk and Joshua. You already picked. You picked Joshua. We got that one.
Adrian Broner.
So Mikey, it's gonna be you and me doing the Adrian Broner fight. Okay.
I refuse.
Well, it's the same weekend, right? So we'll talk about.
Same.
I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, fine. You go ahead. Go ahead. That's fine.
Listen, give me AB. Why not? You know, let's get AB a win.
Yeah,
he's good for the sport.
Yeah,
in no way is that good for the sport.
King Kong Luis Ortiz versus
you skipped Jose Pedraza and Richard Comey.
Oh, okay, Pedraza Comey.
Give me hold on, which one is this for a vacant? This for a vacant bout? Or
this is just a 10-round fight, 10-round junior welterweight.
Give me Pedraza.
That
guy.
Yeah. I actually skipped over this one the first time. August 30th. It's a title fight. Tsubasa Kura versus our guy Pechmani CP Freshmart.
Oh,
the lesser known cousin of Knockout CP Freshmart.
Yeah. I gotta take Freshmart, man. I gotta take him.
Keep it in the family. We want
Fresh
Fresh
Mark Brothers. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tell me what other boxing channels talking about CP Fresh Mark Brothers. Okay.
Right.
I want to make clear that they are not actually related.
They're related through business.
September 4th night, you got Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz and Isaac Cruz versus Eduardo Ramirez.
So I'm gonna go with Pitbull, and so
we didn't actually pick that fight, B, but yes, I'm picking Pitbull.
I did.
Oh well,
I know what you were doing.
I was confusing Ruiz with Ortiz.
Yeah.
So it depends. Like Andy, like he looks to me in shape, right? You know, he looks good, but you know, sometimes he comes in there and his last fight, he came in pretty much in shape and he didn't look that great to me. So
don't disrespect your former heavyweight champion of the world.
I mean, I'm saying King Kong, man, he got that haymaker, man. I can see him. I'm gonna go with Ruiz, but you know, I'm not sold. I'm not sold yet.
Wow.
The sport needs him to win. I think him winning can set up some other potential fights, solid fights to see. But I just don't trust him yet, man.
We didn't mention Deontay Wilder. Doesn't he have? He's got fights.
Yeah, he does.
October,
against nobody. That's why I didn't mention it.
Well, I mean, look. I mean, has he been exposed a little bit? Will this guy come in there and you know, give him a tough fight? Like I don't know anything about this guy. What's his name?
What will happen is this guy will get in the ring and he'll get knocked out.
Probably.
So this is the guy. I think it's the guy that beat,
Robert Helenius.
Yeah. That's the one that that was a sparring partner for a Fury for the last Fury fight, I believe.
Yeah. And he beat the guy that I think he fought is it Kolowski or whatever, the New York guy.
I know who you're talking about, but it's not how you pronounce it, and I can never remember how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Adam Kalmaki, but it's not how you say it.
Yeah, I think he knocked him out.
Ferris wants to know if we want him to create a spreadsheet of the picks.
Well, yes. I will say this: do it, Ferris.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that way we can get we can keep everybody's picks. We can get a tally going.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mikey, September 17th, obviously the one of the biggest fights of the year, Canelo and Triple G.
Canelo, but you know, I don't think it's going to be a complete wash like a lot of people think it is. I think Triple G, it's a lot of bad blood here. A lot of bad blood on both sides. So I think they'll both come out and they'll slug. We'll see a different Canelo than we've seen, obviously, versus Bivol. And I think Triple G, you know, will come out ready to fight and take that $40 million and ride off into the sunset.
So I didn't mention this one before because I figured we would all take the same fighter. But September 23rd on ESPN Plus, Shakur Stevenson versus Robson Consecao.
Yeah,
I hope that's how you pronounce that. Also, that's the card that Keyshawn Davis is on against TBA.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't really care who TBA is. I'm taking Keyshawn Davis in that fight.
Yeah.
And I'm taking Shakur Stevenson in that main event.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yep. I agree.
All right.
Moving on, we've got. I also didn't mention this one.
You're hiding a lot of fights.
I'm not hiding a lot of fights. We just haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. But it was just signed. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn.
Now
that's what I didn't mention because that's a real kind of toss-up fight. I figured you guys will want a little time to think on that one before we gave official picks.
Yeah, I need some time on that one. But I was intrigued when I saw that it was signed. That's gonna be a good one. That is a good one. That is a good one.
What you just said got you. What do you mean send we're sending them to you right now through your ears.
Right. This is just lazy, Ferris. send you our picks. We're seeing it right now. we even repeated it.
Fans, we all know you don't work at work, bro. We all know this. I saw that comment, Derek. No. All right, no.
What
comment in the Discord.
man, Conor Ben, I like him, but Chris Eubanks.
Yeah, that's a good one there. I like that.
My initial thought is going to be Conor Ben.
Yeah,
but we'll give official picks on that a little later.
It was funny. I like Conor Ben. I've been hyping him up, but my initial thought is Chris Eubanks. That's my initial thought, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and that Deontay Wilder fight is on pay-per-view too. Oh no.
Yeah.
No, sir.
East Street.
That's the real winner. East Street. They're gonna be winning.
Next up,
be
Devin
winning a lot
Haney
this fall.
and George Kambosos, the rematch in October.
Devin Haney.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, do you have George Kambosos winning any rounds this time?
2.
2? Okay.
He'll still 2 rounds, and then I think he'll get stopped this time.
Wow.
Okay. I think Devin Haney wins by super unanimous decision. I think
super unanimous.
I think he's gonna have a couple of 10-8 rounds without actually knocking him down. Like he's gonna completely wash George Kambosos again. Kambosos got nothing. He's got nothing for him. I don't care if he tries to make the fight dirty. Like he's got nothing for Devin Haney.
It'll be if he can get 2 rounds, it'll be early. Like I think he'll try to come out. He'll come out in a way that maybe Haney isn't expecting, or he'll come out super aggressive, and while Haney's sitting back trying to get the computer going, registering what he's doing, he might steal 1 or 2 of those.
I can see really happening because I said I thought he was going to win some more rounds. It'd be a little bit closer because he's going to be more aggressive. I think he comes out, swinging essentially, like starts to tries to start real fast, right? And I think you have one of those moments very, very early on in the fight, maybe 30, 45 seconds in, where he lands a punch and Haney stumbles backwards. Crowd goes insane, wins that round, right? Comes out the second round, tries to do the same thing, doesn't really land anything, but the crowd's still behind him because he's in Australia, wins that round, and then it's a kind of a wash.
Then it's over. Downhill.
All right. Okay.
That's still a super, super unanimous. If he 10-2, like you got beat bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is another fight here. I mean, we mentioned Bud Crawford and Errol Spence as well.
Yeah.
I'm going. Spence's my guy. I respect both fighters. I just think Spence has a slight edge on Bud. I mean, but I think, of course, it can go either way. But I'm gonna go with Spence.
Yep, we all pick Spence. So
don't worry about Ferris. We're joking. We're joking.
Yeah. We're joking. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're joking. I guess. Ferris. You didn't know that we wanted you to start right away. You brought it up. I don't know. We didn't task you with this. You volunteered for it.
I honestly thought you had XL open.
Yeah.
Whatever. Do we want prop odds for the Haney fight? Well, man.
We starting a sports book here.
I think we all took him by decision. Well, no, you said he's gonna stop him. So
I think he's gonna stop him. Yeah,
you need those odds. You need those odds. The only other fight. This is kind of I don't even know if this is 100% set yet, but Jermell Charlo versus Tim Tszyu. They're talking in sometime in January. Yep. So I didn't include that one just because it's next year. Maybe we start fresh next year. Yeah. Give you all a chance to catch up on the picks.
Jamal is fighting too, right?
Yeah, that bum ain't fighting nobody. No, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Lots of fights coming up.
Yeah.
So we gave you some of our quick picks. Yeah, that's it. Anything you want to say before we get out here, Mikey?
No, man. I mean, listen, no action. Tonight. Good fights, but it's nothing bad to report. Maybe part of me was thinking like maybe Teo will come out super aggressive, because what scared me is all the pre-fight hype, which ESPN does such a they got to figure that out because it's just bad. But him saying he won that fight, it scared me, right? So I'm thinking because usually it's like you get past it. Okay, you know what? You accept it. I lost. Let me humble myself. Now let me get back out here and do what I do. So that kind of shook me up a little bit for him, concerned me a little bit for him, but. So other than that, I mean, I thought he might come out, maybe too aggressive and get caught again or whatever, just because he wanted to prove a point. But yeah, it's nothing to say, man. It was washes all across the board. I gave my critique of our guy Xander, but I think Xander has superstar written all over him, and we've been saying that on this podcast since the beginning. So,
yep.
So yeah, man. Good night for boxing. So that's it.
All right. Yeah. I share the sentiments, man. Very satisfied with Xander Zayas' performance. Did what I expected him to do, right? And what we say about Xander is, how he doesn't chase the knockout.
Mm-hmm.
He's patient with it. I think he chased it a little bit, which is why he tried to take took some risks. He took some more shots because he put Espada down early
in the first,
and I think he figured he's not far. I mean, a good shot like that, sometimes you just feel like, man, like this guy, I can get him up out of there. But it was a little bit more game than he realized, but he still stayed composed and he put him away not too much long after that. So, and Teofimo, good return. It was just a nightmare of a fight against Kambosos because you went in there, took that fight when you didn't really want to take the fight, right? You're already complaining about draining yourself to make the weight, and it seemed like you and your camp weren't on the same page in terms of whether or not you should do the fight.
Well, and he definitely shouldn't have, since they said he almost died.
Yes. So he had the issue with his esophagus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's torn esophagus, and he said he had air in his system. His lungs, I believe.
Right.
Not
right.
Lungs, but
yeah, it was his lungs. I think they said. But yeah. So I mean, just it was a nightmare. But he took some time off, healed himself, moves up to 140, and he looked like an old self again. So. Again, like we say on here, a loss doesn't derail your career. In fact, if you respond from that loss, it can catapult you. So, again, it's like the same thing I say about Anthony Joshua. Everything's still on the board for you. All right. You got a couple of title fights that you have that you can do in the near future, maybe the next fight, even. So he can put himself right back on the map. With his next fight, and he's young. He's a young fighter too. Was he 25, something like that?
Teofimo, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, all these fighters, man. Like that's why it's so funny that we rush to see these guys fight. Right? We as like the boxing community, like, oh, they got to fight now. Like, man, they got plenty of time to fight.
Mm-hmm.
They got plenty of time, and they will make the fights happen. So, all right, that's all I had. Anything for you, B?
Nope.
All right. Well, we are just under an hour. All right. If we hit end right now, we could keep it under an hour.
How about you stop talking?
All right, Ferris, D, Weezy, everybody that was in the chat, appreciate you. One Mike History. Make sure you go over there and hit the subscribe button. We are getting out of here. B, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Thought you had